All right. Hello, everybody. Hope you all are doing well. This is DFS Army's NBA pre-lock show. I'm Josiah, aka Bob226, and then today we have the GOAT, B-Dub. It's been too long, man. How are you doing?
Good, busy outside of DFS, so that's why y'all haven't seen me. So definitely glad to be back. Missed all you guys.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have you back, man, but we have a lot of games, so we'll jump right into it. First, we'll touch on last night. Last night ended up being surprisingly good. Played Cat for the first time in forever. He popped off. I didn't have like the random Reynaud on the bench guy from Memphis, I think. He didn't really play. He played a lot more than I thought he was going to, and so he was the guy I was missing to really have a takedown, but ended up being pretty good. But new slate, we have Memphis going up against the 76ers. Decent total, 229.5, and a close spread at 3.5 points for Memphis tonight. They are without Santi Aldama. We have Ty Jerome listed as questionable. We have Cedric Coward listed as questionable. Scottie Pippen is out. Walter Clayton is questionable. It seems like we don't have a ton of clarity on what's happening here with this team yet. How are you looking at them? And for those of you who don't know, B-Dubs, he's sharing his screen tonight.
Yeah, I wish I liked this team a bit more. This team typically provides value with all the guys they've been missing, but as you can see, a lot of these guys are starting to get priced up, so they're not looking very appealing. I will say I was getting a little bit of Ty Jerome. I hate that he's only seeing 24 minutes, but last game he played 24 minutes and put up 42 DraftKings points. So he can definitely still get it done, especially in a pace-up spot against Philly. So he's probably the only one guy I'm okay with getting to. Yeah, 9%, so slightly over the field there. And I'm completely fine with it. Also fine if he falls off too, because again, don't like 6,900. And then I couldn't really get to anybody else. Like I said, these prices are just a little too high for me. If Clayton gets rolled out, I can maybe see some Javon Small. I think that'll boost him up a bit, but even him, 5,400 is a little tough. I think you're
I'm
okay.
viewing, yeah, I'm viewing it almost the exact same way as you. They're priced up, and it was Rupert. Rupert was the guy I forgot about yesterday, and I would do it again, honestly. None of these guys are standing out for me for all the reasons you mentioned. Ty Jerome, I do have a 10% min on. He'll be a leverage play here tonight. Just one of those guys I just like to mix in there in that mid range. He doesn't play a ton of minutes, which I never love, but he's a high usage rate player. So just a low owned guy with upside I like having some exposure to.
Clayton
And
just got rolled out too.
who?
Clayton.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes it a much better play. He'll probably start to show up a little bit more now, too. All right, other side of this game, we have the 76ers. These guys have been banged up for a while. No Tyrese Maxey tonight. No Joel Embiid. BJ Edgecombe is playing and is apparently not going to be on a minutes limit, so that makes him look a bit better. Decent matchup here against Memphis. I feel like you're gonna like some of these guys. Who are they?
Not really. Only a couple guys. You'll kind of see throughout each game we go through. There's some value guys that aren't really getting much ownership that I'm taking some shots on, just because overall the value sucks on this slate. So just want to get a variety. But as far as the main guys, Quentin Grimes, have no issues playing him. I really don't like his price at 6,900. He's been playing a little better, but he hasn't shown enough upside to pay off almost $7,000 price tag. So that's probably some chalk I'll be fading. It is a soft matchup, so it could hurt me, but I'm willing to take that risk. Edgecombe, I'm okay if you get to him too, but he's priced up a lot, 8K. I'll pass. I like other spots that are cheaper. And then Oubre is usually another guy I like to take a shot on, but even his price tag is up 7K for him. Can't do it. So only two I'm taking a shot on again because they're cheaper value plays. I put a 10% min on Wofford and Bona. I just like attacking this Memphis front court, and both of those guys have kind of shown decent upside for their price compared to the other value guys. And not really too worried about Drummond. He's kind of phased out of the rotation for the most part. So
Yeah. Thomas, Will, Clay, good to see y'all. I have exposure to this team because the matchup is soft and I like the game total and the spread is close. It's one of the better game environments on the slate. And that's kind of why I just want to have some exposure, even though the price tags kind of price some of these guys out because we do have some decent value here and some injury news on the slate. I have a 10% min on VJ Edgecombe. I just want to have exposure to him. This season has been relatively weird in that when coaches have been saying there's not a minutes limit on these guys, it's been true. So I'm just trying to buy into that, and I just want to have exposure. I wasn't really on Barlow or Watford, but those plays made sense when you explained them. So I just put a 10% min there. And I almost went back to campaign. He played 27 minutes last night. We were on that. There are some guys who did outperform him. And I do think he sees a nice boost with Maxey out, but VJ Edgecombe coming back makes me a little worried about those minutes. So I didn't take that shot, but I do think he's interesting. Actually, I will put a 5% min on him. Who am I kidding?
Yeah, I could pay 5K for him, especially with VJ playing.
He is pricey, but I'm just going to have a 5% min on him just in case this game stays the way I can. If it stays competitive, it wouldn't shock me if he plays a bit more. He didn't play at all in the fourth yesterday and still played 27 minutes. Crazy. But I agree. With Edgecombe back, it does definitely put his minutes at risk. Next game, we have the Mavericks going up against Atlanta for the Mavs tonight. We don't have a ton of injury news here. Let me see what I'm missing. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything. Am I missing something, man?
Nope. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's not really any injury news here. Everyone's kind of healthy, which just automatically makes guys not look as good. Is that kind of where you landed on these guys?
For the most part, but then I looked at Gafford a little longer, and he's somebody I usually fade, but it's kind of hard to ignore his last couple games he's been in. And I like this game environment. It's a 240 game total. I definitely don't like the spread, but I at least wanted one piece on this side of the ball. So only 5,300. His last two games, he put up 42 and 34 points. So at this price, if he does that again, he can be another sneaky play. Definitely don't love it and wouldn't go there in like single entry or anything. More of a MEE play to get different. But yeah, especially with Flag back, this team is just kind of hard to get to.
Yeah, I think Flag is fine. He's someone I don't hate. I just wish he was a little bit cheaper. I will put a 10% min on him just to have some exposure to this game. I understand the Gafford play too, just getting some exposure to a game we like, but there's no one player that really stands out too much. It's always weird when that happens. All right. Other side of this game is a bit more interesting. Atlanta, they're going to be without Kuminga. Yeah, it does solidify the minutes for some of the wings here, but it doesn't change too much for me. Great matchup against Dallas. We always love attacking this team. Looks like Clegg likes PJ Washington from the Dallas side. Again, I think it's fine to get some exposure here. I don't hate that. Brandon, for you, who's standing out from Atlanta?
The obvious Jalen Johnson, of course. He's been going through a rough stretch of games where he hasn't really been doing well, but last game he kind of reminded everybody what he's capable of. I think he put up like 62 points. So somebody with that kind of upside in a soft spot like this, I want a lot of, and didn't have to do anything to get him. He's popping naturally at 55%, so I'll be well over the field there. Dyson Daniels, he's showing naturally too, but just put a 20% min just to make sure he doesn't go below that. Like him even more with Kuminga still out. He has, Nas kind of up there too with upside, but he's definitely the next guy, I think, below Jalen Johnson. We talk about him all the time, does a little bit of everything, still like his price tag too, and has been in solid form too. So probably my second favorite on the team. McCollum, no issues if you get there. He's just a little too inconsistent, and you can play Daniels $200 cheaper with slightly more upside in my opinion. And then I did put a 10% min on Jock and Okongwu. mention it all the time. We love attacking this Dallas front court. Okongwu has crazy upside as long as he stays out of foul trouble. And then if the spread does hold true, somebody like Jock, I love playing when nobody else is really on. He's a great points per minute guy and has potential to get more run tonight. So definitely want him in the mix.
All right.
And then I did consider Naw too, but I feel like he's still a bit too expensive.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for him to get back in the 6K range, but for whatever reason, DraftKings is keeping him in the 7K range. So
hey, take a player away that I don't have to think about. Especially one like Null, who we know can break a slate. So keep him in that 7,200 range. I don't really have to think about him too much. I like that. And like you, Jalen Johnson's showing up a lot by himself. Didn't do anything to him. He shows up in about 59% of lineups. Same story of Dyson Daniels. He's showing up naturally in 27% of lineups. If you're wondering what we're talking about when we say natural and exposure, we're talking about how much of these players are showing up in the domination station. We both work with DFS Army. DFS Army has helped us win 4, 5, 6-figure contests. Great optimizer, great content. Click the link in the description. Use promo code BDUB, BDUBB, for a 10% discount. You'll have access to the Discord where you can ask any of our great coaches questions. You'll have access to the optimizer and just a great community all around. And so for me, I have those two showing up naturally. I then have a 10% min on Okongwu. Because like you said, I always play bigs against Dallas. That's just not a question for me. I wasn't really looking at Jock, but you and Clegg both like him. That's enough for me to get on board. I'll put a 10% min there. Call it a day if things get weird like they should. And then we move forward to the Pistons versus the Nets. I will not watch this game. I refuse to watch this game. Lowest total on the slate at 216.5 with a 14.5 point spread. Surprisingly, second highest on the slate. For Detroit tonight, they have a good matchup. Like, the Nets aren't a great defense, but they play at a slow pace, and that always kind of lowers your expectations somewhat. Asar Thompson's out for this team, so again, boosts the wings. And then Karis LeVert is out as well. Just stabilizes minutes some for the guards and small forwards here. How are you looking at the Pistons tonight?
Yeah, I don't like this game whatsoever. I think we do have to play Sasser, unfortunately. I mean, he can smash. The first game where he started, he smashed, and then last game he played, I mean, he barely did anything. So his floor is scary, but like I said, the value on the slate is kind of trash. So we'll have a lot of Sasser. He's well, he fell down quite a bit, so I'm definitely happy about that. But still over the field at 28%, so he's the only piece I'm getting to. I usually like taking shots on Cade and Durham, but this isn't the spot on a slate this big.
Same. For me, it's just not the matchup. It's just not super competitive, and that's usually when I'll play them. I'll play them in a tough matchup, but when it's supposed to be a blowout, I can't. Even though those are my two guys and they're low owned. And so, like you, I'm doing absolutely nothing this team. And Sasser is showing up in about 43% of lineups. That's a lot, but he's a value play. I'm not going to overthink that too much. Next up, we have the Nets, who are going up against a really good Detroit defense. For Brooklyn, Day'Ron Sharpe is out. And so we saw this yesterday. Like, you're going to see more Claxton, more Clowney. Wolf, but bigs are just going to see more consistent minutes with Sharpe out, but it's still brutal. How are you looking at them?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about how much we hate the Nets. They play everybody. I'm sure one of these turds is going to go off, but you literally close your eyes and throw a dart and hope you land on them. So I'm not going to force anybody here. I'll just take whatever the DS gives me. I was getting a little bit of 2% MPJ and 2% Claxton, which I'm definitely fine with. Not enough for me to want to change it or X amount. So that's probably all I'll be getting.
Yeah, Wolf has 20% ownership. So does Nick Claxton. That's those are some pretty strong fades.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'm doing the exact same thing. I just wanted to make sure we were aligned. I
Yep.
have no mins on anyone. I wish Michael Porter Jr. was lower owned. I like taking shots on him when he's low owned, but not when he's 10% owned. So I barely have any exposure to these Nets. I have 3%. 3% of MPJ and Claxton, just 1% higher than you, but not enough that will really matter. Zaire out. Traore play. Nolan Traore was the guy yesterday. What are your thoughts on Traore tonight with Zaire out?
I mean, Traore was going to get minutes anyways. So I don't think that changes much for me. I think Zaire will change some things for some other guys. But again, it's a guessing game on who's going to pop off here. So it could be Traore or who knows who.
Yeah,
Agbaji, Saraf, anybody.
exactly. Like, that's part of the problem with the Nets is that they just have such a wide rotation that they lose one guy, they boost up the other guys by like 3 minutes, pretty much universally. It doesn't really matter what your position is.
Like,
So,
just look
like,
at the minutes column. Like, it's crazy.
yeah, you don't see that on almost any other team. Besides a team like the Wizards in the next game, we have the Wizards going up against the Heat for Washington. They are in the highest game total. Oh, that's not true. Second highest game total on the slate. And Washington, they are basically, I mean, they're missing guys like Keyshawn George, and they've all been in and out of these lineups. There's no Trae Young. And so they are missing guys who can play a lot of minutes for them at times. But at this point, they're almost just as bad as Memphis. They're always banged up. And they're in a fast-paced game. So there definitely could be some upside here. I just haven't spotted it personally. I think Leaky Black's the guy a lot of people are looking to, or his ownership's not high. That's surprising. Looks like you're on him a bit too. So tell me, what are people missing about Leaky Black?
I think a lot of it is the minutes. Like, the last 4 games he's played, and might have been 3, but I think it's 4. He's played over 30 minutes, and in a spot like this where the pace will be up, even though he hasn't shown much upside compared to some of the other value we have on the slate, I'm willing to take a shot. So I put his ownership was showing a bit higher, so I changed it from 10% to 5% min. So I'll still be well over the field. No one barely playing him, so that's the one piece I wanted on this spot, because kind of like the Mavericks game, I at least wanted one piece in this game.
Yeah. Dixon, I missed this. Yeah, Grimes was a huge disappointment towards the end there, and Pod sucked too. We know the Warriors will always disappoint us. Like we've said that all season. I hate the Warriors. Reese, Mega Royal, good to see you, man. Beat ups. What are your thoughts on Julian Reese tonight?
I don't hate it. He's been seeing decent minutes too. I like some other centers more, so I'm not getting there. But especially if you're doing 150, I wouldn't hate like a 5% min or something.
Yeah, okay. It makes sense that Leaky Black's ownership was higher earlier, but probably because we've gotten some other value, he's fallen a bit. I agree with you though. He's had multiple, like the last 4 or 5 games, he's been playing 30 minutes, and for his price tag, I think that's good enough for me to get some exposure to him too. So I'll have that 5% min right, just like you. And then that's pretty much it from Washington. I'm double checking. Bub Carrington shows up in 1% of lineups, and that's pretty much it. So don't have as much exposure there. Another one that just is gross. You can expect some bums to get more run than you might expect because this game should blow out. So I don't hate getting weird there, like you mentioned with a Reese. It's just not something I feel super passionate about doing myself.
Yeah.
And then for Miami, this team has definitely made this slate interesting. They are the chalk of the slate because they have the softest matchup going up against Washington. And then they have Norman Powell still out. They have Andrew Wiggins still out. They have Kel'el Ware listed as out. Nikola Jovic is also out for this team. That's a boost with all those guys out together for every single position on this team. And that's why you're seeing a lot of dark green on the screen. These guys are all popping. And then we just got the news a couple hours ago that Tyler Hero is now questionable, which is a really late Q tag. It means a pretty good chance he's not playing tonight. Looks like you have a pretty solid game plan, man. How are you attacking the Heat?
Yeah, kind of like what you just said. Hero is a late Q tag, and whenever that happens, more times than not, that guy usually sits. So if you haven't noticed, just unchecked Hero, because even if he does play, this is a game where he doesn't really need to do much or push himself. It's the Wizards, one of the worst teams in the league. So I'm not playing him regardless, but I do think he sits. So literally playing the entire team is my strategy here. Bam, Chalk Bam is always scary, but I'm playing him. He's in great form. Last 3 out of 4 games, over a round or over 50 fantasy points. So like him quite a bit. Myron Gardner, I hate when he's chalk because his minutes are always in question, but I just don't see how there's no way he doesn't get a lot of run with all the guys that they're missing, especially if Hero does get rolled out. So going to eat that chalk. Love Fontecchio. He's shown many, many, many times when he actually gets run, he's a solid player. Only 3,300 almost min price. I have a ton of him. Same with Drew Smith, especially if Hero gets out. Him and Jaku Chonis will get most of the run at point. So both of those guys, I ended up putting 25% on Jaku, but didn't have to do anything to Drew. He's popping like crazy. Same with Jaime when he gets run. He's one of the best guys on the team. And then just put a 10% man on Larson and 5% on Mitchell too. Because again, this matchup is so soft. I literally want the whole team.
Yeah, it's funny. Raheem said I'm fading Chalky Bam. I was too. I was gonna say it's funny you unchecked Tyler Hero because coming into this show I had Bam Adebayo unchecked and I was like, man, screw that.
Yeah,
this is the principle, which is weird because Bam Adebayo and the Heat in general have been a part of some of my larger wins, but he's burned us so many times this year when he's chalky. But then once we got the Tyler Hero's out news, that changed everything. I was like, you know what? Usage rates there. He should dominate from this standpoint. I can't fade him anymore. You can. You definitely can. But I am not fading him anymore. And with that being the case, it means he's now in 100% of my lineups because I didn't cap him at all. So we're going all in, boys. And then Myron Gardner is showing up in 91% of my lineups. We've been here before. Sometimes he disappoints us in these spots, but if he sees more than 20 plus minutes, he's almost straight up money every single time for roughly like 25 to 30 fantasy points. And that makes sense for his price tag. So I'm okay with him showing up that much. Jaime Jaquez is showing up in 87% of my lineups. Did nothing to make that happen, but we know how much of a G he is. Not going to question it. Fontecchio is showing up in 61% of lineups. Again, didn't do anything for that to happen, but hey, I'm here for the ride. Another Miami Heat player who can be really good. And with the limited guys they have in a soft matchup, not going to overthink that. Another guy who's showing up a lot is Drew Smith in 57% of lineups. I'm playing a lot of Heat. I do have them capped at 4 per lineup, so I'm not allowing more than 4 in a line, but I still have a lot. And then let's see. I also had a 25% min on Kasparis. And then I like your Davion Mitchell play. I wasn't really on him, but I don't think it's bad to have 5% of him, especially if this game blows out. So I like pretty much all of the Heat tonight. So should be a good one. And then let's see. Moving on. I see you, Clegg. Like McCollum tonight. It could be interesting. For the next game, we have 2 good defensive teams. Spurs going up against the Boston Celtics. 3.5 point spread, 221.5 total. This is a game that I am looking forward to, but when it comes to DFS, it's a tough matchup. For Boston tonight, they have Peyton Pritchard listed as out, which stabilized minutes for the guards. Think like Derek White, Jaylen Brown. And then we have Nikola Vucevic out, who really kind of makes me more interested in this team. What are you doing with Boston?
Yeah, so I have a 15% man on Jaylen Brown. I will understand if you don't want to play him at this price, especially with Tatum back in the mix. But I just this is one of those games where it's going to be a competitive game, even though it's a lower game total. And I usually like targeting studs on both sides of the ball in game environments like this. So I think even with Tatum, this is definitely a spot where we can see Jalen Nuke. He is popping like crazy at 62%. So I might lower that just a bit because I don't love him that much, but definitely want some exposure. And then the only other guy I'm getting to is Kata. Like you said, Vooch is out. He dominates all the minutes. We just saw him play 36 minutes last game. So never loved targeting Wemby, but at 6,200 with the run he should get, it's going to be a pretty busy night for him. So at 6% ownership, definitely a sneaky play.
Yeah. I went heavy on Kata last game, and I kind of got lucky with the Vucevic injury. He played 35 minutes, but he was horse shit the entire time, and against the Cavs, which really pissed me off, which means I'm going back here even stronger. Kata's going to be a leverage play for me tonight without Vucevic. I have a 20% min on him, more than double the field, going heavy here. Never love picking on the Spurs, but for some reason, it works out sometimes. So, especially when it's going to be a close competitive game, and that's always something I'm okay with attacking. So, 20% min on Kata. And then I was between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And I agree, this feels like a Jaylen Brown kind of year. He's going to try and push for that MVP. But the ownership on Tatum is like right there. And his price tag was a bit lower. I couldn't not do it. And so I put a 10% min on Tatum just to get a little bit of leverage there. I do agree with you. I think Jaylen Brown's the better play, but I was just not going to force it. Well, that being said, the DS loves Jaylen Brown tonight, and he naturally shows up in 50% of lineups. So I get to play and eat my cake too. So hopefully it can all work out there. I like this team more than I thought I would. Other side of this game, we have the Spurs going up against Boston. Similar story. We know Boston's a really good defensive team. Only guy who's out for the Spurs is Harrison Barnes. Doesn't really matter too much. I don't love the Spurs tonight, but it looks like you do. So what's your thought process?
Yeah, kind of like I just said, I like getting like some of the main guys in a competitive game, even some of the value here just to kind of get different in some spots. But yeah, Fox and Castle, they're both in pretty solid form. They're still priced decently, guys who can get you 40 plus fantasy points. And if either one of them do that tonight at this price, they can definitely end up being in the nuts. I wish the ownership was a bit lower, but it is what it is. But I'm still going to play him. Wemby, I'm definitely taking a shot on 15% min. Like I said, competitive games, I feel like he likes to rise to the occasion going against top teams. So I can definitely see that in this spot. And then kind of gross plays, but I have a 10% min on Keldon Johnson, Champagny, and Harper. Pretty sure all three of those guys were looking solid on the sim model. And we've seen these role players nuke when nobody's on them. So just again, getting different with some of this value.
Yeah, I like Castle. He's been my guy for a minute now. So I just put a 20% min there. I like Victor Wembanyama. We talked about it a lot earlier this season. Kata's still a little small for a big, even though he's still been playing really good defense this season. All we need is someone who's willing to be aggressive. Wemby's willing to do that most of the time, so 15% min there. And then Harper's been good. I had a 5% min on him, but you talked me into a 10% min, and that's it. I can't do it with these other guys, but I understand the play because they're not pricey, so their price tag can definitely pay off still. I just don't like the matchup. All right.
Especially like Champagny, like he's one of their best shooters. Like he literally just chills in the corner and they feed him every time. And he has those games where he knocks them down. Like he's had so many games over 30 points. So he's probably my favorite. Well, Harper's up there too, but he's probably one of my favorite value plays on this team.
Boom. All right. Next up, we have the Raptors going up against the Rockets. these next few games, we just have a lot of good defensive teams. So I'm not going to keep repeating the same narrative. For Toronto tonight, we have Jakob Poeltl listed as questionable. He's their big. If he gets ruled out, boost them minutes to guys like Sandro Mamu. And that's the main beneficiary. It'll be interesting to see who else they add over here. We've seen Colin Murray Boyles have some strong games and performances there too. He's like 5,500. Tough spot. We're not getting a ton of value there, but would definitely still be worth mentioning. Oh, Colin Murray Boyles is out. I'm wrong. So there's not even that. I wonder, who do you think they would play at the big? Is it Trace, Jackson Davis? Like as a backup five?
If Podol's out, I would think Mamu would start.
Well, yeah, Mamu would start, but I was wondering who else would be seeing like 18 to 20 minutes tonight.
Yeah, probably Jackson Davis, I would assume. Or Battle. I know sometimes they use Battle. They get weird.
Yeah. So it doesn't look like there'll be any like sneaky plays if that news happens. And so looks like you are only looking at Podol so far.
Yeah, and I don't like this matchup whatsoever. Like you said, two good defensive teams. It's literally just a price thing for me. 5,700 last game. We finally saw him show some of the upside. We know he has over 40 points. So if he does play and gets a full run, I definitely think he can do enough to pay this price off.
Yeah, and Trace is out. People are talking about that Boston team. Any love for Baylor with Pritchard out?
Not much.
Fair. Yeah, I don't like this team. I'm not playing anyone from it. All right. Next up, we have the Rockets going up against the Raptors. For Houston tonight, we have no real injury news that moves the needle for me at all. Still a tough matchup, but these guys are seeing some ownership. Guys like KD, Amin, Şengün. Do you have any interest in them?
Only one I took a shot on was Amin, just due to the form he's in. It was either going to be between him and KD, and Amin's the lower Owen, and I don't like KD's price enough to play him in this spot. So just taking the shot on him and no one else.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with you. I don't really like anyone here. I do get the Amin play. I just didn't force him in here. And no one really shows up naturally. All right, next up, we have the Suns going up against the Bucks. Gets a little bit more interesting. You know, the Bucks aren't an elite defense like the last four teams or five teams if we're going to count the Suns here. So for Phoenix tonight, we have Ty Jerome. Oh, I clicked on Memphis. I was like, I know that's not right. We have Grayson Allen listed as questionable. If he ends up getting ruled out, that's a boost to guys like Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Colin Gillespie, and then Mark Williams is out. That's why you see guys like Oso having higher minutes than he typically does. Same story with guys like Common as well. And then Dylan Brooks is still out with his hand injury, and he's been out for a while, so it doesn't change too much for me. How are you looking at the Suns tonight?
I put a 15% min on Booker just to have another one of those like lower stud plays in the mix. He's finally looking kind of like him old self, showing some glimpses of upside, been hovering around 50 DraftKings points. So definitely want some exposure with how he's playing. And then Gillespie is the only other one I targeted, put a 10% min. He's been playing over 30 minutes in last couple games, just playing really well too with Brooks out. So only two guys I'm going for.
Yeah. Since I didn't have much exposure to some of the other late games on the slate, I wanted to try and force more exposure to this game just so I still had some late game ownership if we do get some news that requires late swapping, and I still like these plays enough that I think they're fine. I have a 20% min on Devin Booker. I still hate we don't see 70-point upside from him anymore this season because I guess he just turned that switch off, but he's still priced well for the, like you mentioned, 50-point upside we've started to see a little bit more consistently here. And I never really hate playing guards against the Bucks, so I'm fine with that. I also have a 10% min on Colin Gillespie. For the reasons you mentioned, I think he's a little cheap for the upside he brings to the table. And then if Grayson Allen gets ruled out, even a bigger boost there. But what were your thoughts on Jalen Green? Did I miss that?
I mean, I'm okay if you land on him. I'm probably fading him. I'd rather play Gillespie for $100 cheaper.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to like this team more and more the more we talk about them. So yeah, I have that 20% min on Booker, 15% min on Jalen Green, and a 15% min on Colin Gillespie. All right, so yeah, gonna be over the field on all of those guys. Dixon said, "Let Russ cook, not Russell Wilson." What Russ do you want to cook? The Kings aren't playing tonight. But I agree. Let Russell Westbrook cook. I love that guy. All right, for the Bucks tonight, they have the difficult matchup against the Suns, like I mentioned. Kevin Porter Jr. is out. Bobby Portis is questionable. You know, if he gets ruled out, stabilizes things for guys like Kyle Kuzma. Giannis's minutes are pretty much what they are. And then we have Jericho Sims listed as questionable as well, which would continue to stabilize minutes for guys like Miles Turner. If Jericho Sims gets ruled out, it would make Miles Turner a more viable play in my book. Are you looking at this team at all, or what's your thought process with the Bucks?
For now, I'm only getting to Dang. I only put a 10% min on him. He hasn't shown much upside, but he does get a lot of run. And if Sims and Portis ends up being rolled out, he's going to look like a even better play. So I want to make sure I at least have some exposure to him. Kuzma is Kuzma. His price is okay. So if you want to play him as a line filler, I won't talk you off of him, but I never purposely play him. So, and then Giannis, he can definitely do some damage in the time he's playing. We just saw it last game, but I like some other guys like Jalen Moore, who's in a bit more secure spot. So probably won't have any Giannis tonight. And then maybe if those two do get rolled out, I might try to get some Turner at 5,100.
Yeah. I have more exposure to this game than the other two games, and so I'm a little heavier here. I have a 15% min on Dang. I don't really love it. He's just a 4K player who has decent minutes, and so I like the spot for him, but he hasn't popped much. He's a low usage rate guy, so we know the usage there, or we know the risk that's there, a lot of cardio. I have a 10% min on Giannis. Technically a leverage play, but I didn't write him up or anything. I just like that he's low owned and he has high upside. And is he my favorite stud on the slate? No, not really, because the Suns are a good defense, but the Suns are kind of small. And so I don't know what they're going to do against Giannis if Giannis decides to go crazy. It's just his choice. We'll see what happens there. I can't say the same thing you did about Kyle Kuzma. I have had my moments this year where I've taken some shots on him. Sometimes he did well, though, so I'm not mad about it. But tonight's not one of those nights I'm trying to go there. If Portis gets ruled out, I'm not against it, but not something I'm trying to force. If Jericho Sims gets ruled out, I like Miles Turner in this spot. Again, the Suns aren't the biggest team in the world, so I do think Miles Turner can beat up on this matchup. The problem with Miles Turner is that he splits minutes with Jericho Sims pretty much 50-50 half the time. No Jericho Sims, I would assume we can see 30-plus minutes out of Miles Turner. If Jericho Sims plays, we see less than 30 minutes out of Miles Turner. So that's really the biggest thing that will define or rule if I play him tonight or not. All right, y'all. That's pretty much everything. Yeah, Turner definitely has 50-point upside, Clegg. It's just if he has the minutes or not. And that's just purely based on if Sims plays. Fleming, value play tonight?
Not for me. His minutes are not secure enough.
Perfect. All right. I didn't think about him either.
And Poto is out.
Oh, there you go. Just like that. Hey, at least now you can go ahead and take the 10% min off of them. You don't have to worry about it anymore. And the rest of their situation's a clusterfuck, so at least we don't have to really worry about boosting anyone else because of it either. So that's going to be pretty much it, unless there's any other last-minute questions that come in. But anything else you kind of want to touch on, Brandon, before we wrap up here?
Not really. I would just say keep an eye out on the Hero news. Even though I think he doesn't play, we've seen teams surprise us. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Exactly. Mamu's still not good. I agree. All right, y'all. It's been a good one. We'll be back tomorrow. Peace out. Good luck.